another edition of Industry Conversations 101. My special guest tonight with me is the queen herself, Stahhr. So she's going to be coming in tonight and kicking it with us for a little while. And we're going to have a little girl talk with Stahhr and to, pretty much see what's on her mind tonight in regards to hip hop. So, yeah, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to DJ Gates for, giving us the mix tonight as well.
I had a little, some technical difficulties, but I'm in effect. I'm here now.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. But just as I said before you came on, it was such an honor to have you on tonight. Kicking it with me, actually having a little girl talk tonight, and then also talking about the state of hip hop right now. I'm telling you, like, I'm a fan. First and foremost, I'm a fan. Oh my God, like, you are a true lyricist, a true MC. Yes, shouts out to you, Queen. Definitely. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on the show with me tonight. So how have you been doing during this pandemic? I know that, we have the Delta variant now, but how have you been doing?
I'm well. Actually, outside of music, I am somewhat of an essential employee, so I have been outside the whole time. So I've just really been focused on keeping my immune system strong, social distancing, masking up, just keeping my thoughts really positive and being smart about what I'm doing because I'm coming into contact with so many different people. And, I don't go anywhere I don't really need to go. But, we could get off into a whole lot of things about that because I know a lot of people see it a lot of different ways. And I think that it's really important to not be fearful, yet be aware and be smart about how you're moving because fear weakens our immune system. So regardless of what anyone is saying, you want to keep your immune system as strong as possible. That is super important, vaxxed or unvaxxed, social distancing or not. I cannot stress enough how important having a strong immune system is in this day and time.
Definitely. Right, definitely. I think just as you said, I think a lot of people really don't understand really, taking care of yourself, taking care of the body, and basically making sure that you do have a strong immune system with all this stuff that's going on right now. I mean, we live in a new day and time, so many things are going on, originally from Memphis.
Yes.
Raised in Atlanta, so true Southern girl, which I'm a Southern girl as well. So yeah, definitely. And so tell me, what were some of your influences? Because as I stated before, you are a true MC. Your lyrics, your delivery. I mean, you must have some heavy influence. So tell me a little bit about your influences.
Heavily influenced by East Coast hip hop. I have to give it up. Most people don't believe I'm from the South. The spirit of hip hop, completely, the hip hop Holy Ghost walked in. I caught the spirit. Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, LL Cool J, MC Light, Queen Latifah, Special Ed, Ice Cube, Redman, Nas, Biggie, Tupac, MC8, Hieroglyphics. I'm an Outcast, Goody Mob. I'm so very influenced, but by so many brilliant lyricists. But specifically, when I started rhyming, it was a lot of native tongues.
Yes,
like Slick Rick, Rakim, Public Enemy, X Clan, KMD. So a brand Nubian. I came up on that. So I had no choice but to be super lyrical because of who I was listening to.
Yeah, and I can tell it because your delivery, it reminds me, it takes me back to the essence of hip hop, especially with female MCs. There's not too many of you. When I say you, there's not too many of you out there. When I listen to your records, you remind me of MC Light, Queen Latifah, just as you talk about Public Enemy, Chuck D, the essence of hip hop. Do you think that hip hop has elevated, or do you think that it has taken a step back?
Okay, so that is a very interesting question, because when we talk about hip hop, we even going back to the origin, we always had party records, you know, MCs that were entertainers more so than they were hyper lyrical. We always had, you know, people talking about sex, clothes, money, drugs. That's always been there. I wouldn't say necessarily what we have on the mainstream is still that essence of hip hop. I feel like it's definitely a hybrid. It has mutated.
Gotcha.
We keep it with the virus theme.
Yes.
You know, it has mutated into its whole thing. However, the way that the youth right now are making music is reflective on the world that they live in and what they see. I mean, a lot of people from my era get very mad about mumble rap and the kids, you know, talking about lean and this. A lot of these kids are the children of crack babies, the children of parents who did ecstasy and all kind of other drugs. I mean, because we were the heroin babies in the 70s. We were the heroin babies. You know, some of us were coke babies. So to get mad at them for being a product of their environment and what they were around. I mean, these babies eat, you know, hot Cheetos for breakfast. So what kind of music do you expect to be made from people that come from that type of environment? You know what I mean? So that's how I rationalize it. Because that music is not for me. Gotcha. So it's not for me. So if I don't like it, I don't listen to it. I don't think that it takes away from hip hop in its essence, because there are still so many artists that are making that good, organic hip hop music. So there's countless. They just may not have the same mainstream platforms that, let's say, that were had in the 80s and 90s, because in the 80s and 90s, the mainstream music was the good hip hop music, because that's what was out. You know what I mean? I was having this conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago, like, you know, Public Enemy was a mainstream hip hop group. Tribe Called Quest was a mainstream hip hop group. X-Clan was a mainstream hip hop group, because that was the standard at that time. So that's how I cite it. I feel that because we have the internet and we have a lot more independent artists, that hip hop is still very strong because we have that lane now to do it in. So it just really depends on if you want to look at it glass half full, glass half empty. I don't really business about what's on the radio right now, because that's not for me.
Right. I get it. And I mean, it's you know, it's the same thing for me, because a lot of the like you said, old school hip hop, we find a lot of it, and I say vintage because now to some of the newer artists, it's vintage. So a lot of that is on YouTube. You can find a lot on these podcasts. You can also find majority of some radio stations now that just cater to the newer style, which they call trap now. Like you said, has mutated into something different. And then now you also have the old school hip hop that I like to listen to. I love rap content that has meaning, that does tell stories, and that also that basically talks about things that we can relate to. You know, not saying that some of the trap music that we hear now that it's not relatable, because some of the things that these kids talk about now, they do speak of the things, like you said, speak about what they see. They talk about their environment. So like you said, you can't really get mad at them because they're talking about what they see every day. You know what I mean?
Like it's unrealistic to expect them to rap the way that we rapped. It just is. I'm not saying that they should not go back and learn, because, you know, that is the foundation. But hip hop is still very young. It's only 48 years old. It's still very young. It's still very young in the grand scheme of things, looking at, you know, other musical genres. And I feel like we still have a lot of room to grow. And I mean, because look, we have MCs in their 50s, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
also this ageism along with the sexism in hip hop. There's also this ageism, but like we can really make this thing whatever we want. It doesn't have to be old school. It could be classic. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just even we set the tone. I think that when the industry got involved in it, the industry started making the standards, but those standards have never been for those of us who kept it true to the original art form. We make our own standards. So
Right.
I feel like we want people to quote unquote keep it real, but then we get
Mm.
mad when people rap about what they know in regards to the newer music. So I don't think that, I don't think that it we will agree on this, because I know people that I don't care. I hate all that music. It's crap. I just don't even listen to it really and give it energy. And I do have a teenager, so I do hear the stuff that he's listening to, and
Right.
I don't want to shut him down because I had my parents didn't like my music either, but I do. He definitely is being exposed, and he's been exposed, to the roots and of hip hop music. He knows lyrical hip hop, whatever. So yeah, it's just being an artist is just critiquing somebody else's art, because then you can
I
say,
know how it is.
yeah, because even when we
Yeah.
say somebody's whack, oh well, if it's whack to you, but they still have a fan base. So I guess I started was trolling on the internet earlier, saying on Twitter, can y'all just listen to the song without trying to figure out the sample and overanalyze the lyrics? And girl, they came from
Right.
my neck.
Yeah, I caught
They
that
came
today.
from my neck. I was called everything but a child of God, but it was the way that I worded it. I wasn't saying that you shouldn't try to figure out samples or analyze lyrics, but I come from the school of Premier saying straight up and down, y'all are violating, your sample snitching. Why are you putting all of this stuff on the internet? I do what you want to do, but that's some people's internet persona. Oh, I know what sample that is.
Yeah.
Like, just enjoy the
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that you shouldn't analyze or whatever, but I mean, none of my lyrics are ever right on Genius. So y'all lyric analyzers are doing a horrible job. That's all I'm saying.
I know.
Like,
I know.
yeah, but they got
It's
really
crazy.
offended. Like, oh,
Yeah.
put music appreciation back in school. Like, baby, I went to school when there was a music appreciation.
Right. Exactly.
Y'all
Exactly.
just think you know everything and you feel like it's your job. The fun about coming from the era we came from, you did have to go to the record store to dig. You couldn't go on the internet and type in who sampled this. Not cheating, man. Y'all cheating the game, man. I'm gonna be an old fuddy duddy about that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
quiet is kept. I mean, I was just with a lot of people's favorite producer a couple of weeks, and we would go and we were listening to music, and one-on-one, what sample, where this come from? Who is this? So I do it, but I don't get on the internet and do it. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. And they do it a lot on TikTok now. You see that a lot on TikTok where everybody's trying to figure out where the sample came from. And back in the day, we didn't do that. You know what I mean? We just didn't do that.
Not on
But
TikTok, we did it, but we didn't. That was the fun of it. The
right.
the dig, the y'all can't, it ain't even fun no more.
Right, exactly.
You
And so
know,
it's just one of those things now to, like you said, overanalyzing lyrics, always trying to figure out where the sample came from. So I mean, we see it, we see so much of it now. And speaking of that, you've worked when you talked about heavy hitters, like favorite producers. You've worked with some heavy hitters, and then not to mention, you also headlined the B-side hip hop festival in the UK. So what was that like? I know that had to be like mind blowing because the UK is totally different from the US. They honestly, quiet as kept, they dig more of the culture than more than what we do. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because you would think that it would be us that dig the culture, but they dig even from R&B. They dig the culture so much more than what we do. So tell me, what was it like, being a headliner and then also being in the UK?
Abroad, yeah, definitely the culture is embraced way more. And I think when I talk to people over there, they didn't always like the access to the music. Like a lot of the access that we have, we're spoiled because we have access to a lot. So a lot of things, even like with TV shows, they get them way later than we got them. So the like b-boying and b-girl, that is huge. That's bigger than MCing. Like this at the festival, graph, like the government is giving them like, funding, like here's walls, only y'all can use these walls, like, you know what I mean? I'm walking
Wow.
around in Birmingham, England, and like, oh, hi, Stahhr. Like people knew who I was. Like that was like everything to just,
Mm.
it was very humbling. I loved it over there. I'd been overseas before. I'd been to Norway and I'd been to Canada, which is, not really what it is. It's a different country, so whatever. But a great appreciation for lyricism, a great appreciation for all aspects and facets of the culture, and just I was warmly received, and I cannot wait to go back. So it was great. I got to perform with two other international artists. The sister named Ty, she's Senegalese, but she's based in France, and my sis Eugen Blackrock, who's from South Africa. So that was a really
Wow.
powerful thing, having all of this powerful, female goddess, original woman energy, and just it was just a dope, really dope vibe. Like even down to the music that they were playing, in between and before the show actually started.
Right, right. So, like, when we talk about, the culture, we talk about so many things happening, especially for female MCs. And, we have a lot: Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Remy Ma. But the one thing that I've seen a lot where you see the change. And what I say by the change is where you see the mainstream hip hop artists like Nicki Minaj. Like I remember when Nicki Minaj first came out, her
Mm-hmm.
flow, her delivery was street, it was raw, she was flowing over, real rugged hip hop beats.
Yep.
Then soon as she became mainstream, it was just like the change. It was more pop, it was more where she no longer was the homegirl that we know. It was now mainstream Barbie girl, da this, that, and the third. What do you feel about that? Like, because I know what my opinions are, when it comes to mainstream and how mainstream strips away a lot of times, if you let it, I say if you let it, will strip away the uniqueness of you and try to change you into something else opposed to you being true to who you are. So what is your opinion about that when artists are mainstream and then they end up switching or changing, or going with or flowing or going along with the flow?
I mean, they signed a contract, so they are bound by their contract, and that's a choice that they made. I choose to stay independent so that I can have autonomy. Uh, I'm not chasing a Grammy. If I got one, cool, but I'm not chasing that. I don't want to be that,
Yeah.
because I look at Lauryn Hill, and God bless Lauryn for being a martyr the way that she was,
Yes.
because Lauryn, what happened with Lauryn is exactly the reason why I'm independent as fuck, and I will remain that way indefinitely,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be very strong. I mean, because the men do it too, so it's not
They do.
like this is a thing that only happens to women. When you make those, agreements, and you sign those contracts, and you've taken this loan, because that's what your advance is. You've taken this loan and you have to pay it back, and they're putting all this money into your videos, into this and that. You have to make something that's going to sell. So you
Right, right.
become, a product, and now you have to be marketed, and because people have to buy into it, because you got to pay that loan back. So I mean, that is what it is. And there are so many women that are independent artists that, I mean, it's sad that we don't hear about more of that on a quote unquote mainstream level. Like, I mean, Rhapsody is one who I can think of, that Rhapsody has pretty much stayed true to who she's
Yes.
been, since she started, and she has seen a lot of mainstream success without appearing to have compromised herself very much. So she's definitely one. But I mean, again, I know tons of women that rhyme and are on the same thing I'm on this. There's a lot of us out here. Again, with the internet, we don't have to just accept what's on the radio. We can, we artists have their Bandcamp pages, they have YouTube pages, there's all just so much music out there that we can access, without having to settle for what they tell us we should like and what we should listen to.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree. And just as you said, you sign a contract, you definitely have to do what you have to do in order to pay that loan off. Like just as you talked about earlier, there's so much sexism in the industry, period. And when I say that, you take me back to the true essence of hip hop. Back in the day, you had, your some MCs that, talked about sex, this, that, and the third. But when I say true essence, is that I remember when female MCs in the back were fully clothed. That's what I mean by the true essence, and just spitting and just rhyming, like guys would. But at the end of the day, they had so much respect. Just like you, the two H's in your name is for your stripes that you received in hip hop. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean, is like when you are staying true to yourself and true to who you are, I think that that's more than anything. Because I really feel that the industry really has its demons, and it really has so many different types of things that can change or can strip you of who you are if you don't even keep yourself grounded, if you don't know who you are,
Right.
you know?
That's the big part, because again, women are not, monolithic. Like, we all have different aspects. So I think I don't necessarily have a problem with women tapping into their sexuality and all that, but let's just have some balance. Like, it's,
Yeah.
that's all I ever ask for. I don't have a problem with a Nicki or a Cardi. What I have a problem with is the absence of the balance to that,
Mm,
because
yeah.
we gotta balance it, because and it's realistic. It's realistic. Like, there's more than one type of woman out there,
It
and
is.
we should be shown in all of our splendor, and that's all. I just feel like, it seems that now, to be empowered, it has to be about sex,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that there's so many more ways. Although being, in tune with yourself sexually is very empowering, there's so many other aspects to that as well. That's all. I mean,
Yeah.
but I feel like everybody has their role that they play. Everyone, it's not realistic to think that everyone's going to be the same, because even in the night, okay, in the 90s, we had Nikki D, we had
Yeah.
Ray, we had Ladybug Mecca, we had Bahamadia, but then we had the Brat, and we had Boss, and we had Missy, and then we had Eve, and we had Kim, and we had Foxy. So we had so much representation, and it just seems like now it's one homogenized version. But I feel like within the indie music scene, we're getting back to that,
Yeah.
where we have so many different, and I love that. It's
Yeah.
definitely there. We just are not necessarily seeing on the mainstream, but it is definitely there.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. What would you consider the four main elements of hip hop?
Graph, DJing, B-boy, B-girling, and MCing. For sure. That's, the
Yeah.
foundation.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I remember, oh my God, like, when everything was just, as a little girl, like I used to love seeing b-boying. I used to love seeing the graffiti.
Yeah.
Oh my, so many movies that were based, you know what I
Yes.
mean, on that back in the 80s,
Yes.
So it was a part of my childhood. I'm thankful that I was able to see that, to see hip hop evolve over the years as well. And as for you, one of my favorite songs that I had the pleasure of listening to, Barbarella. Um, your flow in that record is ridiculous, and I know that you're working on new music, and I want to talk about that before I let you go tonight. What can we expect? What's coming up for Stahhr? What can we expect? Can we expect more flow like Barbarella, or what can we expect coming into 20? We're leaving out 2021, coming into 2022.
Well, I'm working on an album with Pete Rock.
Woo!
So, right. So that's what you have to expect.
Yes. Powerful, powerful.
I'm feeling really good. Like the beats are just like incredible,
I
and
know.
the writing that they're bringing out of me is just, it's like, wow, I'm finally at that point where I'm like, okay, I'm super comfortable. I know what I want to do. I know who I am as an artist, and I have the perfect soundscape because Pete is my favorite producer. So
Yeah.
I have to pinch myself. Yeah, and I listen to the beats and I'm like, he really fucks with me because the beats he made for me, custom made for me, he wants me to win. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited. Yes, I'm gonna be fully in my Barbarella bag, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You
Fully,
gotta come back.
fully
Yeah.
bar work, a lot of it. Yes, I'm in the gym.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to hear it, and I know it's gonna be spectacular. But before I let you go, before you leave me tonight, give everybody, your handles on Twitter, your social media, your website where they can reach you.
Okay, so I'm gonna just let y'all know now. My Twitter is where I let off steam. I'm a huge troll. I'm a comedian. I like to fuck with people. So if you follow me on Twitter, just understand what you're walking into. Don't expect the unexpected. I have a lot of fun on Twitter. I'm Stahhr there, Stahhr. My Instagram was hacked. I actually was almost at 10,000 back in May, and someone hacked me, so I had to start all over. So I am Stahhr is Barbarella now. And my website is Stahhr Music, STAHHRMUSIC.com. I have music on all digital service providers. I have a Bandcamp page. I'm not really on Facebook like that, but I do have a Facebook page, whatever, fan page. But STAHHR, I'm the only one. There are other people that use it, but as far as the MC, there's only one STAHHR. I've seen a lot of people using my spelling, but I had that spelling since like 97.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where I am, and I'm just, like I said, right now I'm working. I'm probably gonna write for about another hour when I get off of here with you. So I'm in that's the space, because I was in a kind of a lull with my music. I've been putting out music since '98, so I've been on a roller coaster, and I had gotten really comfortable with my my Diana Prince. I had put my Wonder Woman costume in the closet. I was really in my Diana Prince. And releasing Barbarella and No Doubts and Mother's Milk, the single that I put out last year, that really touched the way it was supposed to touch. Like, Chuck D got all the way behind that Barbarella. He pushed that Barbarella record like I was his artist. He's still pushing me, so that was good. That was good for me. And that single is actually how I got to where I am, because the No Doubt song put me on Pete's radar. So, because I have a line in there where I say Chocolate Boy Wonder, I'm talking about. So I'm talking, call the dude Chocolate Boy Wonder. So he said, I had heard of you. And then I heard that song and I'm like, yeah, I got to work with her. Like, that's it. And that opened that door. And we, his brother connected us. So that Barbarella was and I hated that song. That's what
really. Oh my God, that record is so dope.
I sat on Barbarella for like 3 years. I sat on it. I was not happy with it. So for it to have been received the way that it was is just so humbling. Big up to Directors Inc. Films for that video, and for the No Doubts video. That my visuals helped a lot with that too. So like I said, it's if it's in you and it's for you to do, you just have to just keep riding it out. I mean, like every time I try to walk away from music, I keep getting pulled right back. So let me go ahead and do this one, and then after I do this thing with Pete, I don't know. Maybe they'll let me retire. Or who knows? Maybe I get to do one with like Premiere next or the RZA
I know, right?
or
Hey,
organized noise. I'm putting it
yes,
out there, you know.
I know. Exactly, exactly. But thank you so much for coming on the show and kicking it with me tonight. I can't wait to hear the new music. So I will definitely be. I follow you on Twitter, so I will be checking you out on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm over there causing much panic. They mad about that. The over and boy, they mad.
I
They
know, I know, I know.
they
It was
big mad.
hilarious. It was hilarious.
He's not a musician. She obviously doesn't know any. Girl, the stuff I read, I'm like, y'all, why you care of what a stranger
Exactly.
on the internet has to say? So what, lady? I'm gonna keep listening to the samples and overanalyze music. You don't tell me what to do. Y'all give me too much control. And when people get upset, again, that troll, I love trolling. It's fun. So I'm gonna be doing that as soon as we log off. I'm going right. Let me see my notifications. What's going on?
But thank you again so much
Thank
for coming in
you.
and chilling with me tonight.
Yeah, I had a great time. And speaking of voices, yours is amazing, girl. You
Thank you.
sang, singing, and I'm here for it.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So
Thank
keep
you.
doing
Thank
what
you
you
so
do
much.
as well.
I will. I definitely will. I definitely will. It's much appreciated.
Likewise. So this is a nice, good vibe.
Yes, it
Feel good.
was.
Feel
Yes,
good.
it
Feel
was.
good.
You
Yes.
got to come back now when the music comes
Oh,
out.
absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. You can bet
All
it.
right.
All
All
right.
right.
Take care.
All right. Take care. All right, y'all. Again, this has been Industry Conversations one on one. DJ Gates, where you at, baby?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you so much for coming on with me tonight, kicking it with me. And actually, thank you so much for the mix.
No problem. No problem. Well, this was new for me, so I had a good time.
Yeah, 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 definitely. I had a good time too. I hope you are staying safe and keeping safe.
Yes.
As well, through this pandemic and the rise of this Delta variant. But definitely, hopefully, you can come back again next Thursday, kick it with me, and yeah, definitely get into some more conversations.
Yes. Anytime. Anytime, sis. I'm here.
All right, all right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in for Industry Conversations one on one. Also, shouts out to Ben. Also, shouts out to Preston Magazine. And also, thank you all again so much for tuning in to Industry Conversations one on one. We'll see you all again next Thursday, 9 p.m., right here on YouTube Live. It's your girl, Nisha, signing out. Good night, everybody.